New Super Luigi U is a hard game, but I'm gonna make it even harder. That's right. For this challenge, I cannot run, I cannot mid-air spin, I cannot spin jump, I cannot use any power-ups, therefore I can't use any checkpoints, I cannot kill enemies, and I cannot use Yoshi or Baby Yoshi. Yeah. It's gonna get pretty insane in some parts of this challenge, and the ending is so crazy that you have to see it to believe it, so be sure to stick around. But before we get to that, we have 1-1. And right from the get-go, I was shown how hard this challenge is truly going to be, as there were waddle wings everywhere in the first level that I had to dodge while also not killing a single one. On top of that, I realized that this game gave me much less time than your typical New Super Mario Bros. Game. And since I'm unable to run in this challenge, this meant I had to keep mistakes to a minimum. But utilizing the higher jump that Luigi has in this game and pure skill, 1-1 was no match for me. 1-2 was a pretty uneventful underground level until the end where I had to avoid all these Koopas. I was hoping I'd be able to access the secret exit, but it requires the acorn suit, which we can't use according to the rules of this challenge. Then we arrive at 1-Castle. This level was tough, but I made it to the Boom Boom fight pretty quickly and gave him the business. I know I'm jumping on an enemy here, but I'm not gonna count this as killing an enemy. I mean, look at him. He's fine. Also, it would kind of make this challenge impossible if I couldn't fight bosses, so I'm gonna say this is okay. 1-3 initially seemed like it would be just another simple grass level, but then I got to this section where there are 4 Monty Moles on the rolling platforms. After dozens of tries, I kept either colliding directly with one of the Monty Moles or accidentally killing one. So then I tried to use a ground pound to gain some momentum on the rolling hills. This allowed me to barely get between these Monty Moles, causing them to collide and knock each other back so far that some of them fell off the ledge, giving me just barely enough room to jump over them and complete this level. Phew! If you thought that part was hard though, just you wait for what's in store. After 1-3, there's a split path where I decided to play 1-5, and it was easy peasy. That brought me to 1-Castle, where with some precise jumps between platforms and good P-switch timing, I was able to reach Lemmy Koopa and send him reeling back to Bowser. On to World 2, which was one of the hardest parts of this challenge. 2-1 was nothing obscenely hard, and the same could be said for 2-2. But then in 2-Castle, I reached this section where you have to jump between these platforms before they crush you. It seemed like no matter how hard I tried, I could not for the life of me squeeze through. But after hours of me trying to perfectly wall jump to get across the platforms faster, I did this. Oh my gosh. After that, the Boom Boom fight was no problem, and I continued onward. At the next split path, I first tried 2-4, as it has a secret exit. But not only do you need a power up to get to the secret exit, but this level is also impossible due to this jump here. So over to 2-5 it is. This level has to be possible for me to progress in the challenge, or else it was all over. Luckily, it was an easy breezy level, and I made it to 2-6. Oh boy, this level. I'll talk about this one in a bit. Trust me, there's a reason. Moving along to Morton's Castle, this level was filled with moving platforms, requiring me to time my jumps perfectly to avoid lava. Then I reached this section here full of dry bones, which really worried me, but luckily dry bones don't die when you jump on them, so with precise timing, we can progress to Morton, where we knock him back to where he came from, Princess Peach's womb. At the end of World 2, I was met with a choice of either going to Frosted Glacier or Sparkling Waters. I decided to go down over to Sparkling Waters, since the ghost ship had a secret exit I could actually use to get to Rock Candy Mines, as long as I could get to the end of the level. 3-1 had a couple of hard jumps between these crabs, but I was able to use their rocks to jump over them. 3-2 and 3-Castle were somewhat difficult levels, but ultimately I completed them with ease. Now that I'd reached the ghost ship level, all that was left was to reach the end of it and use the secret exit. So after struggling through all the spinning boos and moving platforms, I made it to the end of the ghost ship, barely avoided these annoying fish, and moseyed on over to the secret exit. This brought me to a very unique beanstalk level that was nothing too difficult apart from avoiding enemies, meaning that I'd officially made it to Rock Candy Mines. Whew! I really needed that. I had sunk hours into this challenge already, and I was only at World 3, so being able to skip all the way to World 6 was such a gift. You will never understand the satisfaction I got from this. 6-1 was a breeze, and so was 6-2. 6-Castle 1 was tough to maneuver, but once I reached Boom Boom, he didn't stand a chance. Much like the previous levels, 6-3 and 6-4 also gave me no trouble. But then, I reached 6-Castle 2. Instead of having the usual Boom Boom fight, this time I had to fight Sumo Bro. But to even get there was such a struggle. Trying to move this platform while avoiding dry bones, fire bars, and even these Sumo Bro slams was so tough. I had to make perfect, precise wall jumps and ground pounds at the exact right time to barely make it to the top. But once I did, I then had to defeat this big Sumo Bro. It was such a hard fight. But after a couple deaths that sent me all the way back to the start, I finally managed to fight back another foe and get through this castle. Moving right along to 6-7, we reach an underground mineshaft level that has this jump right here. Yikes. Since I was unable to spin jump, I began devising this plan to wall jump over to... Oh, I could just do that. From there, I just needed to wall jump off the platform I was on, and the rest of the level was no problem. Then I reached Roy's ironclad castle. There were a lot of moving platforms in this level that could crush you with ease. On top of that, if I didn't time my jumps right, the platforms would push me into the lava. The trickiest part here was the moving staircase. The reason for that was this one dry beetle right here. Timing my jump to avoid its spikes was extremely precise, but once we hopped over it, I got to Roy's boss fight, which was super easy. That meant I'd made it all the way to Meringue Clouds, the second to last world before I complete this challenge. 7-1 and 7-3 were just dandy, but I couldn't beat 7-2 due to this jump. Thank goodness though, it was on a split path. And then we reached the hardest level in this challenge, Stone Crush Tower. Yeah, the start of this level all the way up to the final section were pretty tough, but then I reached this part. I tried over and over and over again to try to walk and jump through this section, but I wasn't even close. I tried for literal hours to clear this gap, but I just couldn't get it to happen. Oh no. Is this really it? After all I've done? No! I won't let this take me down. I first tried wall jumping off this wall to gain some momentum. It helped a little, but I was still far from the end. So then I began timing how long the crushers took to open and close, and combined that with a wall jump off of dry bones and continuously jumping forward, which allowed me to get to the very end of the crushers, where... Are you kidding me? I spent like 5 hours on this. Well, at least I knew it was possible now. So after another few hours of trying, I finally made it through the Stone Crusher and avoided the Fire Bro to reach Kamek. But after all the trauma I'd went through, I just went sicko mode on Kamek and he didn't even stand a chance really. 7 Ghost House may not seem very important, but it actually allows me to access yet another secret exit that brought me all the way to Ludwig's castle. This level was shockingly easy, and the Ludwig fight wasn't that much tougher. So after that, I was brought to the last level between me and Peach's castle, where I had to avoid the hands of Bowser's airship and battle Bowser Jr. while not killing any bob-ombs. But with a little luck and a lot of deaths, I defeated Bowser Jr. and made it to the final world in this challenge. Perfect Meteor RNG in 8-1 not only allowed me to get through the level with ease, but I also accessed the secret exit, sending me straight over to 8-4. I avoided even more meteors in this level and had some close calls, but I made it through. I was horrified by this next level, as it had rising lava, electric wires, and a platform that required motion controls to use. Luckily, with all the skills I had acquired from playing through New Super Luigi U like this, I was able to make it through relatively quickly. And from there, we reached the final level of this challenge. This was the last thing between me and completing this challenge. Let's do this. The level began with a short section where Bowser Jr. followed me around in a clown car, occasionally slamming down and causing the platforms I'm on to collapse. Due to my limited speed and mobility, it required a lot of trial and error for me to get through here, but I eventually reached the gates to the final battle with Bowser. But there was a problem. Defeating Bowser when he isn't massive was easy. Just step on this comically large button. But when I got to the fight with Giant Bowser, I could not for the life of me outrun his massive shell. Every time I thought I juked him out, he would barely catch up to me. But I wasn't giving up. I had an idea. Rather than allowing Bowser Jr. to hop back in the clown car after I hit Bowser, I needed to actually somehow beat him to it and get back in it to avoid Bowser's shell. Even with the clown car though, I could barely avoid Bowser's shell sometimes. And after hitting Bowser twice, I was sitting in the clown car when he knocked me out of it and Bowser Jr. had a chance to grab it. My heart dropped at this point. If Bowser Jr. made it to the clown car before me, I knew I would be dead meat. This attempt would be over. But by some stroke of luck, I just barely made it out of Bowser Jr.'s way as he was jumping up to get in the car and managed to hit Bowser one final time on the head, which means that I just beat New Super Luigi U without running, spin jumping, mid-air spinning, power-ups, checkpoints, killing enemies, or using Yoshis. Challenge complete. Hey, you never talked about 2-6. What? Would you Fine. The start of 2-6 was nothing worthy of note, but then I reached the very end of this level and I was met with this jump. I tried everything I could to get around this jump, but with no good way of gaining momentum due to the rules of this challenge, it was impossible. But here's the kicker. If I were to remove any single rule from the challenge, this part would be possible. But unfortunately, with this combination of rules, I couldn't do it. But on top of this, there's even 2 secret exits I had access to at this point, but neither were accessible to me without using a power-up. And worst of all, literally every other jump in this level and this challenge was possible except for this one single jump. So it's with great sorrow that I say challenge almost complete. Anyways, if you guys have any suggestions on how I could clear this gap, please let me know in the comments or send me a clip on Twitter, and I will see you all in the next one.